Market's down. People asking, well, what do you think? What do you think now? Well, guess what? I think the same thing I thought a month ago. I still think that IBM, I still believe them when they say they're going to be doing $1 billion a month in lumens this year. It's not going to happen tomorrow. Maybe the price of lumens goes down tomorrow. But I still think that's happening. Could be a big deal. I also know that Stellar is coming out with an exchange, SDX, and IBM is making one called Fairfax. I think it's IBM. I don't even know. And maybe those won't be a big deal. But those are two things that I feel make me feel confident about it in the long run. Bitcoin. I'll tell you what's changed. I like Bitcoin so much more than I did a month ago. I didn't understand. Check this out. Lightning Network. You know, what I always say with everyone, what do you think of this? What do you think of that? Well, has it launched? Is it decentralized? And how's the adoption rate? And usually once I ask that question, you know, what do you think of Tron? What do you think of Icon? Has it launched? Is it decentralized? What's the adoption rate? People's eyes glaze over. Look at look at Lightning Network. Has launched. Now, they're telling people not to even go on the main net. Just use the test net. Nevertheless, the main net, we're now at 420 nodes. About a week ago, it was 280 nodes. It's launched. Look at the adoption rate. Decentralized. Love it. And this, people have to stake money on the node. That is going to help hold up the price because you're staking your coins out there. So what do I think? If you like something based on fundamentals, you like it when the price goes down. I am happy. I hope it goes down more so I can get more. And I'm taking my time here. And Ethereum too. I'll tell you, Ethereum's barely down. I mean, it's you know, it's been rather sticky. And Ethereum too. I just heard a news story today. Joseph Lubin, there's a new video. He's talking another use case. They were talking about BH Billiton. Oh God, I forgot how to say the word. Everyone's gonna get mad at me. The BHP, I believe. I can't remember the name of the oil drilling company. Anyways, they're working with Consensus using Ethereum. Instead of when they dig stuff out of the ground, they put it into bags and label it with paper. Well, now they're going to be using the blockchain, which is basically digitizing of this process, and it allows them to share data. These kind of use cases, like Dubai putting all the real estate titles in the country on the Ethereum blockchain. Love to see that kind of use case. There's a lot of that going on in Ethereum. You know, which brings me to my next point. Are we really down? I mean, let's take a look here. I understand that for some of you, if you're new, you could feel like you're down a lot. Or if you're not used to traditional markets. But traditionally, short term is less than a year, okay? You know, a year ago, we're at 1,000. So we're up 8x over a year. Hard to say we're down, you know what I mean, if you're long term. But in this market, 1 year is so long. To me, that's not short term in the new world here. But I just remember being in this market pretty closely for a long time. To me, 4,000 or 5,000 feels like it was a floor. When it broke through 5,000, let's see, was this around 5? That was sort of this short-term jump up. Now, I don't know what's happening. This could be the low here today. This could be the low and it jumps up. Or maybe it treads flat. Maybe it goes down slowly. Maybe it falls tomorrow. I don't know what's going to happen. But I would not be surprised if you pay attention, you could buy some below 5,000. Now, don't wait for 5,000, right? If now it's at 9. Your dollar cost averaging in. These are the times you want to buy. Hopefully you didn't buy it that much in December. So you have some firepower and you buy, but have the expectation this could go on for months. Now, I don't expect it to be as bad. When Mt. Gox collapsed, went from 1,000, 2 years later was at 200. I don't think this is going to go on for 2 years. Lightning Network, will be launching, people getting on. It's exciting. I don't expect this downturn to really go on more than 3 months. Like I said, it could be over tomorrow, but it could go for 3 or 4 months. So you don't want to blow oh my God, it's down to 8,000. Throw all your money in. And then 2 months later, it's at 5,000. You're going to be like, shoot. I remember when Bitcoin, I was buying it after the Mt. Gox thing. And I remember when it hit 175, it was down 10% one day to 175. I remember it was like, oh, that's a good buying day. I'm like, but I put too much in now. I'm like, I'm scared. Now, granted, I wish I put even more in, but you know, you don't want to, you don't wait for the bottom, but save your firepower. Worst case scenario, you save some money. It goes up tomorrow. At least you're in. You know what I mean? It's better. Okay, made that point. So that's where I see Bitcoin. Now Stellar too. I mean, look at this run. You know, I mean, this is, you know, this is only since October. We're still up like, what is that? 1 penny? Just let's say 2 cents, up 20x. You know, most of you are not in there. I started sort of getting popular after the IBM thing. Even it was at 3 cents. Who knows? It's up a lot, so it can go down more. Here, a point. I don't know if I should get into this in this video. It's almost like a whole other video. Let me just say this. Smaller market cap coins can fall further than the higher market cap coins more easily. The reason is, so people are like, wow, I made a lot of money. I want to take the money out. If people want to take $1 billion out of Stellar, what is that? 1/7? I don't know. That's 15% or something. If people want to take $1 billion out of Bitcoin, it's a much smaller percentage. So the percentage falls less as people take the same amount of money out. I don't know if that makes sense. It's almost a whole nother video. If you want more info on that, we could, you know, let me know. We can talk about it more. But bottom line is, you got to watch out for the smaller coins. Could fall farther. And look at this air pocket here down to 20 cents. I mean, again, I love Stellar. I like it long term. To me, this is a 5-year story, but within the next 2 months, could it go all the way down here? And sometimes it's one of these things like for 1 minute. You know, it's 1 day, it's like friggin' 20 cents. And then boom, back to 30 or 40 cents. So who knows? But now another thing, looking at it, a lot of these smaller coins had a huge run. This is one thing I was looking at because for me, Stellar, it became a little ridiculous, and that Stellar is like 80% of my portfolio. I was like, okay, you know, as much as I love it, should I really have everything in Stellar? I should transition a little into Bitcoin. So look at here. You know, this is, you know, I did from around here. You know, I was transitioning, selling Bitcoin to buy Stellar. And guess what? I mean, it's still way up against Bitcoin. And now, because I hated Bitcoin here, I didn't see the Lightning Network coming. And Stellar was under 500 million market cap, so that was a good deal. And now look at it's still way up. Like, this is not down. And a lot of these small coins, and especially their shit coin, you know, ones I don't believe in. I don't think Tron deserve. I mean, that's probably already come down a lot. I could look at that. You want to look at it? Let's just take a look-see here. Curious. The ones I call shit coins. And no offense to those of you who love Tron. I'm not trying to pick on you. It just happens to be one that I'm not a believer in. So we don't have to go 6 months because it's so short here. Now let's look at that against Bitcoin. Okay, so this one has come down more. So compared to Stellar, we're still up against Bitcoin. This one's already come down, but still, if you're in here, whatever that is, how many zeros? 5. You know, it's still doubled. If you're in something, a very small cap, sort of hasn't launched yet show, you know, now is a good time to take advantage. The Bitcoin, which has lag, you know, also Bitcoin, just looking at it, you know, the chart. Let's go back here. Bitcoin. You know, this doesn't look, a lot of charts are like go straight to the moon from nothing. You know, Bitcoin's up less than 100%. You know, only in this market do we say only 100%. You know, and it's less than 100% over, you know, a number of months here, or let's say 100%. And that's why people are like, oh my God, it's down, it's down. I don't know. I'm up over 100% in less than a year. Is it really down? This is not pain. You know, and I'm not expecting huge pain. I don't think we're going to zero. But like I said, anyways, the pain that you could feel on the downside in Bitcoin, I think, is less than in these little coins, including my friend Stellar here. Love them, but look at this. It's had, you know, it's really near the high compared to Bitcoin. So if you've made a lot of money on it and you don't have any Bitcoin, again, depends on your portfolio. For me, Bitcoin was 3% of my portfolio. The biggest market cap, looks great with Stellar, and I only have 3%. Stellar, much smaller coin, is 80%. That's a little, I don't advise that for anybody. So I try to put, make a little trade here. Rebalance your portfolio. I talked about that in a video a couple days ago. Ethereum, Ethereum is looking actually surprisingly sticky. I mean, I would have thought it would have gone down more. We're still up, 300. It felt like an eternity that it sat at 300. And when I say 300, keep in mind, 270 to 330 is 300 was to me. It was just bouncing around with 300 being the mean for a long time. And then shot up. It's still up 300% from that, from right here, not that long ago. So, again, I love Ethereum. It's feeling like it's not coming down that much. It may not. It may. But could it touch 300 again? I would not be surprised. And like I said, I hope I have firepower so that if it gets there, I get it. I would be surprised if it goes much below 300. Again, one day, anything can happen, but who knows? So again, we're buying it over time. If you want to get in this market with an intelligent portfolio, don't blow your load in all in 1 minute. So what else are we talking about here? Now, how long is this going to last? Now, again, not to sound like a broken record, but these things can go on for a long time. Let me show you one other thing. I want to show you. Yes, okay. So, and just to show you the pain that you can endure here. This is Stellar. Okay. I didn't start getting in until, okay, is this USD? Yeah. So what is this? Why does that say? I'm confused. Am I looking at the right thing here? It doesn't look right. It doesn't look like USD. It looks like Bitcoin. Let's see if we reload. It does say US dollar. Let me just reload it. Okay. Yeah. I need a better chart here. Well, okay, this chart is hard to look at. I'd like to get rid of this here because I want to show you this part. So it hit, and you can't even see it in this chart, but it hit 6 cents in May. And they don't even have it in the chart, kind of got rounded out. Hit 6 cents. And then it was coming down. And I started buying here, almost, I think my first buy was around the 4 cents. And then guess what? If you can see this chart, I'm buying it at 4 cents, doing my dollar cost average once a month. Then to 3.5 cents, down to 2 cents, down to 1 cent, 1.5 cents. There was a day, and I remember the day, here we're at 1 cent. It went below 1 cent. It was I could have, again, going down so much and buying over 3 or 4 months, you start to, question yourself. It was at 0.08 cent. I could have got a little bit more. But at this point, I feel like I had enough anyways. So, bottom line is, what are we talking? June, July, August, September. For 4 months, I'm buying, and every month it's lower. That's not fun, But I believed, so I just kept going. So here was this, and this doesn't look that exciting right now over here, right? Because it got rounded out. But this, you know what this looked like? This. So guess what could happen again? Here is like this now it's 40 cents. Could have been my 4 cents, right? And now, just if it's going to repeat this path, for 4 months we tick down, and there's a day where it hits 8 cents, right? And most of the time, it's at 20 cents for 3 months. And then, IBM, they start doing international trade, billions of dollars start buying, and the thing goes to a friggin' dollar. Could happen, okay? I'm throwing out there the possibilities. Be aware of the possibilities. I don't know what's going to happen. And usually what happens is something that's never happened before that you can't predict. But if nothing, I don't know. Hopefully that makes sense. So did I mention, I don't, I don't think, yeah, I already said how, to me, 3 or 4 months trickling down could happen. Usually, if something plummets, if this thing goes to like 20 cents tomorrow, I would almost expect it to shoot right back up. If it doesn't and it keeps ticking down, usually if it goes on for a long time, it usually goes like a little stairway. If it falls off a cliff, it usually comes back and actually even goes higher sooner. So you almost want that huge flush out if you're in more of a rush. Again, anything can happen. Now, also, just to touch on the other coins, there's a lot of coins that have it hasn't launched. Like something like a Tron. If the market doesn't come right back, you see this? We're going back to here. If this market trends down for 3 months, this thing could be, at some point it's possible too, this enthusiasm for every new ICO goes away because people get depressed and bored with the market not going up, and the things with nothing launched. And again, not to pick on Tron, and maybe someday they launch something and it turns out to be wonderful. But right now, it's just a few weeks of code, right? So if you are in a down market and you only have a few places to go, it stops being exciting to go into the thing with just a few weeks of code, and you prefer to go into, Bitcoin's new Lightning Network, which is up and running with billions of dollars. So the small dream coins, maybe is a better term. You have a dream that someday when they launch, those can have trouble if this ticks down over months. Again, another reason to maybe, if you've had huge gains in something small, pick up a little bit BTC, or, now the only reason I haven't been talking about Ethereum, because I already have a fair amount of Ethereum. I'm more urgent to diversify into Bitcoin. Again, depends what you have. And if Stellar, you only have a teeny bit, it's up a lot, well, then you keep it, right? But if you have too much, so it all depends on your situation. And again, with the dollar cost averaging, how much money do you have in total savings and what percentage, and do you have money left over? If you do, you're in good shape. If you spend it all, just sit back, watch, and wait. Again, with my buying in Bitcoin, did I talk about that story? Yeah, I was buying in around, I think I started around 500, went all the way down to 200, average cost around 350. But that was longer. Could have been 8 months or a year of me buying and watching it going lower and lower every time after I bought. It's boring. It's not fun. You feel stupid. You don't brag to your friends. And then one day you wake up and it's all good. So what else do I have here? Okay. And now I'll just quickly go through coins. I've done this in the past. People seem to enjoy. Ripple. I'm curious here to compare market cap. As I said, Ripple and Stellar. I like Stellar better. But Ripple, with a bigger market cap, it was 10x bigger. And I said they'll come closer. So now Ripple's market cap at 32. And Stellar's at 7. So 8. So it's 4x. Now Stellar is only 4 times, 1/4 the size of Ripple. It was 10x for a long time, and when I made that video about that. So it's coming in. I expect that to continue. Litecoin, as I've said before, it's not going away. It's fine. I'm just terribly bored by it. So you can see here, I wouldn't be surprised if we're back, comes back and sits at 100. This is something that I find should be a relatively boring coin. So I wouldn't be surprised if we come back and just sit here. Why? Like, do they have anything launching? No, it's there. It has distribution. You can move it around. It has some utility. If Bitcoin becomes slow, well, then you can use Litecoin. There's use cases. It's not going away. But, I don't know why I would get excited about it. Bitcoin Cash, to me, I thought, first, so now, what's better? Lightning Network, this absorbing all the transactions. I wouldn't be surprised if a few years from now, 80% of all Bitcoin transactions are done on the Lightning Network for free and instant. Whereas Bitcoin Cash will continue for the majority of people to not be free and not be instant unless you accept it with 0 confirmations, which makes no sense to me. And the team up building it is nothing compared to the Bitcoin crew. Bitcoin Cash, this thing to me goes to $100. I have no faith in it. EOS, a lot of excitement. We'll see. There's an EOS meetup near me. I'm going to go next week. I'm interested. The whole thing about EOS is, first of all, will it work and will it be decentralized? It probably will. Will they get the adoption? Will companies start building on it? And meanwhile, the adoption rate I hear on Ethereum of companies building and jumping on it, off the charts. I mean, it's been big and it keeps getting bigger. One of the things I sort of look at all the time, try to keep up on, is this. This is off. You can't see, and I can't scroll it over. Ethereum's transactions, you can't see the end. It hit a high of 1.3 transactions per day. It's now at 1 million. So I look to see that growing. And, what is the value of transactions? It's more valuable to put real estate titles in Dubai than the blockchain than for people to hit like on cat videos, right? So there's some of that. But as far as EOS, once it launches, will there be companies building on it? And maybe there will, and they have a lot of money to sort of incentivize companies. So we'll see. But what is the market cap of this one? We don't know the market cap because it's still ICO, right? Or do we? I don't know. But I wait and see at launch. I mean, it's going to be tough for anybody to compete with Ethereum, let alone carve a niche. NEO, it's this IPO show. I didn't predict the IPO show, how much the thing would go up by people launching ICOs on it. I'm not a fan of NEO. It's not decentralized. It's just ICOs. It's a money raised show. I think that's all it's about. This thing is up pretty big. Obviously here you can see. Let's look at it in Bitcoin. It depends where you got in. This is one, I mean, this is still up a lot. I would trade into Bitcoin from this. Again, I keep saying Bitcoin because that's the one that I need to buy. But if you don't have any Ethereum or Stellar, you could do that. This thing so it's still up a lot. That's why some of these things, everyone's like, oh, it's down, it's down. Okay, this is US dollar. This is like at its high. NEO is not even down. Let's just look at a little shorter term. It's not. I mean, look at that. Is this US dollar? Why does it say 0.03? Something is weird with this. Oop. Let's try this. They just upgraded the look of this crypto compare, and they may have some technical things going on. Okay, so yeah, this is it. I mean, that's 6 months. Here's a year. I mean, it's down a little, but this thing is still way up. I mean, it's at 30 for a while. This thing has had a huge run. When people say, oh, if someone says NEO's down a lot, unless this was you or this was you, and if this is you, you need to just take a nap, right? And just watch from a distance for a minute if you bought at 188, right? And no offense, believe me, I've been the stupid guy. I'm 50 years old, okay? Believe me, I didn't always know what I was doing. With the internet bubble, I did okay, but wouldn't have been making these videos. What's next? It is Tron. We already talked about that. Ethereum Classic. Oh my God, I don't want to turn this into me ranting again. Ethereum Classic and Cardano are both. I understand that Cardano likes to say how they're so different than Ethereum, but if I listen to Charles Hoskinson, yes, I said the name right. I listened to him for almost 2 hours. And other than the thing that, oh, they have more scientists review before they write code, and maybe that has some value. Personally, maybe not. I don't know. But other than that, they're working on the same problems. Proof of stake, scaling, sharding, whatever. It all sounds the same to me. They think they're going to go about it in a better way. They'd have to go about it in an exponentially better way to somehow catch Ethereum. The reason I'm like, well, maybe EOS could do something, because it's structurally, like, fundamentally different. The difference is, and I know that Ethereum Classic and Cardano are not the same exact, but to me, the sort of structure is very similar. Okay? And I know some people get mad at me. It's so different. Quantum, I don't know. That probably recently launched. The main thing was something launched. So how many businesses are building on that platform? And if the only thing they're using it for is ICOs, that's great, and it may do well. Lord knows NEO's price has gone way up just from people doing ICOs. But to me, I don't see that as a long-term value. Doing an ICO, anyone can do ICOs on almost any platform now. So in the long run, it becomes sort of a Me Too commodity, kind of boring. Digital cash, I like Dash. The story I love, but the reality is there's hardly any transactions on it. It's not growing transaction-wise. I go here. Dash. Where are we here? This was 6,000. It jumped. Now you can't see. Sorry, it's off the screen, but they're around 8 to 10,000. Which, let's look at a shorter term. Let's look at 6 months. Okay. From 6 to 12, 100% growth in transactions for this market is small. Remember, Ethereum is growing 10 times. I mean, that's in a year. And this is only 6 months. Let's look at 1 year to be fair. Okay, 2 to 10, that's 5x. But I don't know. I'd want to see more. Dash is very small. How do you become any of coin that wants to be used for payments, retail payments? You have the chicken and egg problem. What merchant wants to accept it if no one's carrying it in their phone, and what person's going to bother carrying it in their phone if no merchants accept it? And that's not easy to solve. And when you're really small like Dash, I don't know, but they're supposed to launch something in June. So in June, they launch Evolution, and if it looks amazing and people are signing up, merchants are signing up, I would jump all over it. But this thing, the price is starting to come in. I was like, where did I like it? It was around 300. Yeah, I was hanging around 300. I sort of liked it here. And then it started taking off. I said, this is crazy. And granted, I should have held it to here. But, it's coming back. I would not be surprised if this one does not come back to 300. I think people in the know on that are like, oh, that's found money. Monero. Again, very small. I was surprised. The executive, Phil Potter from Bitfinex, who I talked to, I asked him which coins he liked. He liked Monero. He said the developing team is good. It's been around. It's a privacy coin. So he likes it. I don't know why. I don't. It's very small. And privacy, I think, eventually becomes a commodity because Ethereum added ZK snarks and privacy, and now Bitcoin with the Lightning Network is going to have privacy. So privacy to me becomes a commodity in that everybody has it, and it's not just super valued. So if you're just a small coin and your only selling point is privacy, when a big coin has privacy, why would you use Monero? So I'm not a fan. IOTA, unproven technology, not decentralized, not open, has had problems. MIT Media Labs panned it. Personally, this is the one that I will go out on a limb and predict it will go to zero. That is my prediction. I could almost say this about a lot of them, and I'll be wrong on most of them. And actually, a lot of these in 5 years from now will be at zero, or they'll get absorbed by something else, or it'll just be abandoned, whatever. I don't know which ones, but this one to me, I don't have faith. Not a believer. Zcash, again, privacy. The Zcash team is the one who helped work to put the privacy into Ethereum. Bitcoin Cold. Yeah, now we're getting into these small things. Icon. I will talk about Icon for a second because I don't think a day goes by when people don't ask me, what do you think of Icon? So Icon, it's so funny. I've been to their website like 10 times. I'm going to do this just quickly here. Icon, ICX. Okay. So every time I look it up, and then I answer someone why I'm not really into Icon. Mostly it hasn't launched yet, right? I think something did just launch. I'm going to show you here but every time I go to it, I can't remember what I found because it's just so, I don't know why so now if you go to this website, I went there all the time, a bunch of times, and now, they just redirected it. Okay, yesterday it was down. I was going to make a video on it, and then it was down. But you know what? I don't know if you've ever heard of the Wayback Machine. Check this out. Archive.org. This is very useful for a lot of things. So what was the URL? Shoot. Let's get that back here. So this was their original URL. Oops. So we're going to put that into the Wayback Machine because they changed their website. Whoops. Oh, here we go. So let's see here. Let's just pick one day. Because the new website, it doesn't have, when someone says, what do you think of this coin? The first thing I do is I go to the website and I look for the roadmap. Because most things haven't launched. If something's launched, you want to look at adoption rate. But most things haven't launched. So I go to look at the roadmap, or it's just launched. And now they've got this site. There's really no info. And the thing about Icon, as many times as I read it, it's like, what do they do? I can't loop chain. Like, the more you read it, the less you know. Oh, is this some sort of a roadmap? I didn't see this before. Now, blockchain authenticated personal information leakage alarm system. Like, I'm always like, what are they doing? I don't. It's hard to follow this thing. And what was I getting at here? Oh, the old website. So here's the old thing on the that I found in the Wayback Machine. Why is it not scrolling now? Hello. Okay, let's do this. So this was what it was before, and I wanted to check. So this was their roadmap, and so just quickly, regarding decentralized exchanges, everybody's got a decentralized exchange. I want to see a decentralized exchange with real volume, right? Apparently everybody can launch a decentralized exchange, but none of them have any volume. If you need a lot of volume, and I'm going to try to do some more research on that and see if there are any that do have volume. And maybe this, IBM working with banks, FairX, that's going to have volume. I don't know. And this, I don't even know what this stuff is. But this looks like Nexus mainnet launch. Looks important. So I looked it up. It was supposed to launch here Q4. Then they delayed it to January 24th. Supposedly it launched. But it's like, what is Nexus? I never, and I'm sorry, people are going to say, well, you're so stupid you don't understand what Icon's trying to do. But this, I have to go into, I don't know what. Here they're comparing to Ethereum. Interchain. I mean, I don't know. Ethereum has Plasma, which allows you to connect to other chains. Real-time transaction. Again, Plasma on Ethereum, you can do on the side chain real-time transaction. Decentralized exchange. Well, there's EtherDelta is an Ethereum decentralized platform. I don't know. I mean, they're saying, well, Ethereum doesn't do it, but it's built on Ethereum, right? So I don't believe these X's here. I guess I should have made this in a whole new video about Icon, huh? Anyways, yeah. This is another thing. It launched a week ago. I also saw they had a very big party 2 days ago. I wouldn't get near this thing. Look at this price. This is another one that my guess, it's gonna be great maybe in a few years from now, and if prices are down over a couple months, this thing will go right back to nothing. All right, that's it for today. Whoa, I went on forever. Sorry, I should have split it into 2 videos, but c'est la vie. Thank you.